Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MMA Alerts. To start, Alex Pereira gives a new $50,000 gym challenge to Anthony Smith, which is Val's charity donation. Alex Pereira, the UFC light heavyweight king, wants more than just to defend his title. The fact that he challenged Anthony Smith shows that the 36-year-old wants to keep playing and test all parts of his game. Smith and Pereira have agreed to a $50,000 wrestling match. But Smith's lack of urgency is making Pereira more and more angry. Tell this person that the bet is true. I'm not going to talk about fighting at an event since I don't need to get attention. It has to do with making a gym reservation. Of course, the bet would be there because it would probably be hard to fight me at an event. I couldn't do anything for a month because I broke both my toes. That means I only need 1 month to get back to some of my exercise. Coach Javier Mendez wants the UFC 302 title fight to last as long as possible. Coach Javier Mendez told Submission Radio that he'd much rather have the fight last a full 25 minutes, even though Makhachev wanted a quick night at the office versus Poirier. It's kind of like me. I always tell you guys that I like going 5 rounds because I don't like missing a beat. Like if I say, oh, 1 round, and then all of a sudden we're in the second round, I believe we are now in the second round. I don't want to lose any of my thoughts in the fight I'm having right now. It's possible for you to lose the fight if you miss someone small. That's why I always like going 5 rounds. By us being in charge. That's how I like to do it all the time. I don't like saying things like we'll beat them in 1 or 2 rounds, I'm not sure. I also admire Dustin because he is a great fighter and a winner. I'd like to say 5 rounds instead. I really believe he is just Dustin, older, smarter, and still as dangerous as ever. We had to be very careful. We play our game. He won't have the chance that most people think he will, that things will go wrong for us if we don't play our game. He likes to spoil things. He's also definitely dangerous, very, very dangerous person. No way are we thinking of him as an easy fight. He's not an easy fight. If you respect someone so much that you work really hard to make it look like an easy fight, then it will be. But none of these guys are simple. Not one of them. All of them are really tough. And Dustin is only a great fighter to me. A real fighter who is going to give it his all and act out the Rocky part. You know, I did it where I pulled it at CC. We need to keep him from doing that, though. I think that's what will happen. We won't let him pull the Rocky bow. Daniel Cormier thinks that Jon Jones's fans are getting to him. They will always be linked to each other because they were in one of the most famous battles in mixed martial arts. Daniel recently spoke out about a direct message DM exchange Jones had with a fan who called the heavyweight king insecure. Jones put that in writing. As a guy who has sent him direct texts, I can tell you right now that he wrote that. I believe he wrote that. It's possible that I'm wrong. Yes, it's possible that I'm wrong. But I think he wrote that. He might have written that because it gives him something to talk about. He thinks that this is why he is doing what he is doing. It makes sense that he would fight Steve Emile if he was making $15 million, though. Okay, it's kind of like telling someone you don't want the lottery ticket but want them to win it. He will fight him for sure if he gets $15 million. I think he did write that, though, but I really dislike that fan. Fans will often just say that they believe it hurts you and doesn't make sense, but that fan wasn't as off as some people might think. You're a wimp if you say all that money and are still as scared as you are. He's still shy, though. And Jones does feel insecure, just like everyone else, but he's just there for everyone to see. He has shown that over and over again. But if this guy's talking to fans right now, they're making him mad. It doesn't change that Corey Sandhagen still doesn't like UFC bantamweight Marlon Vera. Ariel Helwani was told by Corey Sandhagen that he doesn't know if Chito Vera has learned anything from their fight in March 2023. For starters, I didn't like that he was competing for the crown. I was hurt, that's true. I didn't feel right about it, though. I knew it. Also, that's not his fault. I'll give him some credit for that. In places where that's not always his. You don't say no when someone asks you to fight for a crown. The fight was also interesting to watch. Once more, I'm trying not to be too harsh on Chito because that's not how I act. I thought to myself, man, you're basically fighting a copy of me who does things a little differently. But pretty much the same shape and style. You went in and fought pretty much the same way. How did you make things better? Why didn't you try to take down at least? Couldn't you have done something a little different when you fought me? What did you learn from our fight? That made me mad. It makes me mad when people I don't like do things. It's hard for me not to go hard. When people don't come in better than they were before, it makes me mad. It only means I have no idea what they're doing. Someone who used to be a title challenger wants the UFC to take Jon Jones' current heavyweight title away. Dana White just recently stated that Curtis Blades vs. Tom Aspinall will be the co-main event of UFC 304 in Manchester. Someone who used to be a title challenger wants the UFC to take Jon Jones' current heavyweight title away. It would be risky for Aspinall to fight Blades because the real winner, Jon Jones, is set to fight Stipe Miocic in November. Even Conor McGregor didn't get special treatment like Jones did, and Hardy is upset about it. Hardy used to face Jones for the UFC welterweight title. The UFC took away Conor McGregor's undefeated lightweight title because he hadn't done much. Jones could be called the sports GOAT, but McGregor is without a doubt its biggest star. Tom Aspinall got a spot at UFC 304, which made Dan Hardy happy. But he didn't like what the UFC was doing with the heavyweight title picture. Justin Gaethje gives a possible date for his return to the cage, but he's not rushing back. In July 2023, Justin Gaethje beat Dustin Poirier by knockout to become the BMF lightweight king. He looked like he was ready for another title shot. Gaethje's plans were quickly thwarted, though, by Max Holloway, who gave him one of the most famous highlight reel knockouts ever at UFC 300. For Gaethje, this loss was very hard, and he has since stopped using social media to focus on his health and getting better. Even though Gaethje didn't get seriously hurt in the fight, the knockout was pretty brutal. Gaethje was asked about his plans to return to the cage during the interview. He replied, Charles Oliveira wants to build a legacy with a BMF fight against Max Holloway. Charles just recently talked about a possible BMF belt fight with Max Holloway. Yes, that one about the heritage and everything else I've been talking about. Why not? Win a belt against the guy I fought many years ago and hurt during the fight, so why not?